For this lesson, you're going to need your colored pencils, the piece of paper with the texture, a Sharpie, and a pencil. Hello, Creativity Club. I'm so happy that you're here with me today. We are going to be learning this month about some Mexican artists. The first artist that we're going to talk about is Frida Kahlo. And Frida Kahlo is very famous for her self-portraits. Of course, you remember a self-portrait is a portrait of yourself. It's a picture of yourself. But instead of us doing a self-portrait, because I know a lot of people have a really hard time with that, I decided that we are going to draw a picture of one of her favorite pets, and that was a spider monkey. Isn't he cute? So we are going to be using your piece of paper that was in your kit, the small piece of paper that's the thick one. And we are going to be using colored pencils, a regular pencil, a Sharpie, along with that. Now, here's the thing. You've still got all of your watercolor paint and your watercolor paintbrush, and you can use that if you want to, because this paper that I gave you is actually, you can use paint on it. And it's a good thick paper. So if you'd rather paint instead of using your colored pencils, you're welcome to do that. That's why I gave you so many different materials in your boxes, is because I want you to be able to experiment. If you want to do part of it with the colored pencils and then color or paint the background with your watercolors, you're welcome to do that as well. So if you're going to do that, you're going to need your water and your watercolors and your brush, okay? So, like we were talking about a while ago, Frida Kahlo, she had a really rough time growing up because she was sick when she was young. She had polio, and that made one of her legs shorter than the other. And then when she was a teenager, she was in a really bad bus accident, and she was in a body cast, which means it came from here all the way down to where her legs start, for 3 months. So she couldn't even get out of the bed because this metal rod kind of like went right through her. So she had a really rough life growing up. And so that was how she passed the time when she was in her bed recovering, was using her artwork abilities. And so she got better and better at that, and she decided she wanted to study art, and that's what she went on to do. I have a video for you guys to watch about Frida Kahlo, and I have some other artists that we're going to discuss later on. But this week, we are going to be doing her little monkey, one of her spider monkeys, like I told you, and we'll get started. So we are going to start out, like I said, with our piece of paper. Now there's two sides of the paper. One side has a lot of texture. You can feel it and you can see it. And the other side doesn't have as much texture. So it's totally up to you which side you want to use. If you want your monkey to have a lot of texture, use the side that has a lot of texture. If you want it to be more smooth, use the other side. Now I'm going to use the side with a lot of texture just because I want to see what it'll look like. And then if I don't like it, I can turn it on the other side and try a different way. So, now if you're gonna paint, you might not wanna paint on one side and then flip it over and try to paint on the other side. But if you wanna try pencil on one side and then flip it over and try painting on the other side, then you're welcome to do that. It's totally up to you. Okay, let's get started. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm gonna draw very lightly a circle. So this is gonna be his basic, this is his head, okay? Now I'm gonna draw very lightly because if I draw too hard and I get ready to erase, I won't be able to. I don't know, I'm hoping you guys can see that. I think you can. Okay, I'll make it a little bit darker. So I'm gonna go around my circle, making it a little bit darker. Okay, now the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to make a circle right here in the middle. That's gonna be where his nose and his mouth goes, okay? Now, the spider monkeys are real long legs and they have really long arms and big long tails. And they call them spider monkeys because they can go around and swing through all the trees, and they fly like a spider flies through the air. So we are going to make our little spider monkey. They've got really interesting features. So there's his little muzzle first, and then I'm going to make his eyes. So this eye I'm gonna put on this side. Then I'm gonna put another eye on this side. A circle on each side. All right, now, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a real rough line that goes around this eye and goes down in the middle. And then I'm gonna do the same thing from over here. I'm gonna go up and around this eye and make his little face, okay? Now, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to put a little spot right here. That's for where the light hits, okay? So I'm gonna make that come around like this. Now, the next thing that we're gonna do is make his ears. I'm gonna make him have kind of bigger ears. So I'm gonna put those right beside his eyes, because that's where your ears go, is right beside your eyes. So I'm gonna make his little ear come around like this, like a monkey would have an ear, kind of like a person, really. So I'm gonna make his little ears, all right? Now, the next thing I'm gonna do is make his nostrils. So I'm gonna make a curved line on this side and a curved line on that side. And then I'm gonna make a little line that kind of comes around like this, and a little curved line that goes around like that to kind of make what his nostrils would look like. So I'm not gonna make them go all the way around like an oval, but kind of like an oval. Then I'm gonna start in the middle, and I'm gonna make a backwards J and a frontwards J. So there's my little monkey's mouth, and then there's his little tongue right there. Now, for him to look more like a spider monkey, I've got to make his body first. So his body's kind of long, so I'm gonna make his body kind of come down like this. Very lightly making my lines. And then I'm gonna make his tail. Well, his tail is gonna come from behind, and I'm gonna make it go back behind his ear and then up. And then I'm gonna follow that line. I'm gonna make it parallel. So this is his tail that goes up behind his ear and then back down. Okay, so there's his tail. Now I'm gonna make him look more like a spider monkey. And the way I'm gonna do that is make his little hair, it kind of has like a little mohawk that sticks up. So I'm gonna come around and make him have like a little mohawk that comes up. And that's when it's important that you have drawn lightly, because I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna erase that part of his head, because I want him to look more spiky where his hair comes up. Okay, so I'm gonna make the rest of his little face kind of hairy looking, not just, you know, a flat circle. Now, the spider monkeys kind of have a little, it's almost like a little beard that comes down. So I'm gonna make him have a little beard that comes down like that. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna erase that bottom part of the circle that I had there. And then I'm gonna erase the bottom part of where his body was. And then I'm going to give him the light space that's on his body. They've got like a spot that goes up on their body. The pictures I saw anyway. Now, I'm gonna make his other arm kind of hanging down like this beside him. Now, the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna think about, if he's in the jungle, he's gonna have leaves. So I'm gonna make him some big old leaves that kind of look like they would have come off of a big jungle kind of tree. And then I'll make some more leaves like that. And then some more leaves like this that are coming back behind him. And if you wanted to, you could just make some little vines hanging down. You can make your vines however you want. And that way it looks, you know, because if you were in the jungle, you wouldn't just have one kind of tree hanging down. You'd have a whole bunch of different kinds of trees. Okay, so there's my little spider monkey. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my Sharpie and I am going to go over my lines with the Sharpie first so they really show up. And then I'm gonna use my colored pencils to color in. So I'm going to go over my lines very lightly with my Sharpie. I'm not gonna press down hard. And I want them to kind of look like fur, so I'm not gonna make straight lines. I'm gonna make them kind of jagged because I don't want it just to be a straight line. Because, you know, their fur's not straight, it's not smooth. They're kind of wild. They live in the jungle and they run around and do all kinds of crazy stuff, so you don't want them to be all nice and smooth and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna put that circle there to remember that I need to leave that spot white. That's gonna be the light shining. So there's his nostril, there's his other nostril, and I'm gonna make that little part of his mouth and that part, and there's his bottom lip and his little ears. So I'll make his little ear come around. And then his body, and we'll do the same thing, just kind of jagged looking. That's his little arm hanging down behind him. All right, then I'm gonna do his tail. So I'm gonna very lightly make his tail coming around. Same reason, I want it to kind of look like fur. I don't want it to look all smoothed down. So there's my monkey, my spider monkey. Then I'm going to go over the leaves. So I'm gonna very quickly do my leaves. The longer it takes for you to make the strokes, the more wiggly they're gonna be. So if you try to make them kind of fast and just kind of go with it, they're gonna look smoother. If I try to draw slow, sometimes my hand wiggles. See how it's kind of wiggly when I do it like that? If I just go fast, it seems to go better. So I'm gonna make some little vines coming through. Same thing from here. Now see, I totally got off my line there, but that's okay because I can go back and erase and no one will ever know the difference. That's the cool thing about it. Unless you tell somebody when you're doing art, if you mess up, they're not gonna know when you get finished because you might have changed your mind about something. So don't say, oh, I messed that up. You just say, oh yeah, I meant for it to look like that. Nobody will ever know. All right, so there is my spider monkey. And I can take my pencil and my eraser and I can go over these lines like this and erase my extra pencil line. Or I can just leave them there because I'm gonna color over them with colored pencil. So some of them might show, but a bunch of them won't, but some of them will. So it's up to you. Now I'm definitely gonna go over where I went off of my lines on these little vines because some of them aren't even close. I'm gonna go over his face. And then I'll take this and move it out of the way. That way I'm not making a big mess on the floor. I'm just scooching it over, and I will come back later to that. So, make sure I'm still in the area there. Cool. All right, so next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm going to get out my colored pencils. And I gave you all several. Of course, you're gonna have to sharpen them. I gave you a sharpener, so you're gonna have to sharpen them. So I'm gonna start out, and I have, I'm missing one of my colored pencils. Must have fallen on the floor. Oh well, I'll come back to that. So basically what you're gonna do is you're going to use your colored pencils, and you're going to fill in. First, you'll fill in your spider monkey. So what you're gonna do first is you go around the edges and make that kind of darker. And then you can kind of go around his eyes also like that. And then, according to how much pressure you're using, you can fill it in. So this is my brownish sepia colored pencil. Then I'm going to use it very lightly to color it in. Now, if you want your monkey to be black, you can color him in black. You can make your monkey any color you want to, really. If you want him to be purple, it could be purple, but the real ones are either black or dark brown, from what I can tell. Now, Frida Kahlo's was black, in the paintings anyway. Now, most of the pictures that have Frida Kahlo in them are black and white, but it looks like the monkeys are black in them. I'm making a slideshow to show you with her and her monkeys, because they're super cute. Okay, then I'm gonna do this part at the bottom. Now remember, if you want to paint them, you're welcome to paint them, because this paper is more than adequate for painting on, because this is actually paper that is made that can be painted on. That's why it's so thick. It would actually really look good if you use your watercolors, I would think. Okay, now, the next thing I'm gonna do is, this is my dark green. So what I'm gonna do with it is I'm gonna go around part of my leaves. And you know, if you look at a leaf, it's not always the same color. Especially in the fall, they change colors, but there's just a lot of variations in the leaves. So you don't have to color them all exactly the same color. You can kind of put shades of the color. And when you're using the colored pencils, you can use different colors, and I'm gonna show you. So I have a dark green and a light green. So I'm gonna kind of blend these two together. So you can see what it looks like if I color right over the top. And then you can see what happens if I color in the part that's still white. See how you've got the two different shades of green? Isn't that pretty? So you can do that. And that gives you one shade of green. I'm gonna show you something different with another one. So let's say on these down here, I start out with this lighter green that I've got. And then I take my yellow. And when I do those together, it makes it look totally different. So see, you can use your different shades of green. Now what if over here I use my dark green on part of the leaves? And then I used my yellow. So I want you to experiment using the different colors and blending them together to see what you come up with. So see, that looks different than the ones over here. So I want you to go through and color your different leaves and different things that are on your picture. Maybe you decided you wanted to do some flowers, because there can be flowers in your picture. So if you wanted to do some flowers, maybe you wanted to use your red. So maybe I've got like some little flower, I can make some just little squiggles back here. Let's say I wanted to make some little squiggly flowers. I'm just making little circles. And then maybe I might take that dark green and make some little stems for them. Maybe I've just got some little flowers just growing out here and there. You can do that. You can use yellow, you can use red, you can make whatever kind of flowers you wanted. Maybe they're those really neat orchids that are growing out of the trees. I mean, it was in the tropics of Mexico, so there's no telling what all animals were down there with her. Lots of different ones. Now, then I'm gonna take my colors and go over this. And I'm gonna go in the direction that these leaves would grow. So they grow from the middle and then they come up like that. And then I might take my lighter color green and go right up next to the edge. So just kind of use your color pencils and experiment with them and see what all different shades you can come up with. Now, I also forgot to color in his tail. So I'm gonna have to go back and color in his tail. And I'm gonna make him dark. I'm gonna make his tail darker right up next to the edges and then lighter in the middle. Almost like the light's kind of shining on it. Color in that guy. Then I'm gonna color in his eyes. So I'm gonna color them in as dark as I can get them. And I forgot to keep a black, so I need to find a black colored pencil and I can go over them again and make them even darker if I wanted to. So there's his little eyes. And then I need to finish his little leaves. Blend my yellow in with them. And you're going to be using your colored pencils again. So make sure that you keep those in your box, because we're also going to make some shrinky dinks with your colored pencils. So you could actually turn those into like a keychain or a necklace or something like that. We'll be doing that another week. And they're going to be with the alajebres, which if you've seen Coco, you're going to know what an alajebre is. Once you see it, you're going to go, oh, I know what that is, because they're super cool. I'm probably butchering the name, but I think that's how you say it, alajebres. Okay, so we're to the point where we're finished, basically. If you want to, you can color back in the background, back behind all your other stuff. You can color some more green. If you wanted it to look like some sky back behind there, you could pull in some blue. So maybe I want to put some blue, like the sky's peeking through in part of it. I'm just gonna take my colored pencil and go back behind there. If you are using your, hoping I'm not getting too far down. If you are using your watercolors, then you can do it however you want. I would love to see your spider monkey when you get finished. I would love for you to send me a picture so I can see what you come up with. I just think they're so cute. But she had, I don't know how many she had. Maybe I can find that in some of my research. Maybe you can find it and tell me how many spider monkeys she had. She also had some parrots and different things. Now, then I'm gonna use my green down here, so it's gonna be like my horizon line. So this is the grass back behind him. Because you know, the horizon line is where the sky and the grass or the ground touches. You might be, maybe you might be doing a desert or something like that. It's where the sky and the ground meet. Okay, well there is our little spider monkey. Now, if you have a lighter brown, you can go back and you can kind of fill that in. I can't remember all of the colors that I gave you, but I'm gonna just kind of give him a little bit of lines right here just to make it interesting. I'm not gonna fill him all in, but I'm gonna make his little, give him just a little bit of color on that part. Give him just a little bit of character. Very light touch with my colored pencil because I don't want it to be too much. Just give him a little bit of texture, a little bit of color. And there you go. There is our Frida Kahlo's spider monkey. And I hope that you guys have had fun this week. Next week, we'll probably be doing some alajibres, maybe some weaving. We're gonna learn about some different artists. So I'll see you guys, bye.